Hello everybody, my name is David, also known as Rev, and you can call me that too, I guess. And welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. In the previous episode, we learned a lot about the Sundred Dacians and exactly what happens to those who were kidnapped. This time, we are going to be meeting with the Satrap of Radz-at-Han, and I decided between episodes I would already, make the travel here. I probably should have gotten that, blurred section of the map, but I'll deal with that when I get flying. All right, let's talk to Sean. All present, and let's proceed. Owing to the threat of the tower, the city is currently in a state of high alert, and strict restrictions are in place for entry. Though you have been granted special permission, I ask that you remain close to me at all times. I'm actually excited to see who the leader is and what he looks like. I love this city aesthetically.
Squats upon Favnir, and to its stony surface clings the city of Radz-at-Han.
Wait a minute, I remember this in the live letter, I think. This is the other city that we can go to as a social space.
Here are subject to the scrutiny of gods, the gate's most watchful eye.
Is there a camera actually in that eye?
Beholdeth the truth of all things. Pass beneath its hot and piercing gaze, bearing down like a second midday sun. The fragrant haze, a mixture of sweet incense and acrid smoke. The cries of merchants mingled here with lively melodies accented by dancers' feet. Travelers seduced by vivid sound and colors were once swallowed up by patchwork streets.
All right, Radz-at-Han. I think the only thing I want to do is make sure I can attune to the ether right here if there is one. I'm pretty sure there is one. I would be genuinely surprised if there wasn't.
To savor now. To what somber present does that divine eye bear witness?
I feel like I'm the only Rogadin in this city.
Here we are. Megaduta.
Megaduta.
It seems a shame to bring you here directly. Under normal circumstances, it would have been my pleasure to show you the sights.
And it would have been our pleasure to see them. Alas, it seems our tour of the city will have to wait.
I'm afraid so. Come, we should head inside.
Of course. Alright, do I have control of my character, or is this going to transition from one voice cutscene to another? I'll say the latter. The latter.
Your Excellency, may I present our honored visitors?
Ah, splendid. Most splendid. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ahawan, Satrap of Radz-at-Han. Our alchemists tell me your assistance was invaluable in the creation of the warding scale. Such deeds ought to be recognized in person. Thus did I have young Varshan convey you here forthwith. on behalf of my people, may I express to you our sincere gratitude.
It's not every day that the ruler of a nation gets to say thank you to us. Not everything went to plan.
I assume you speak of Nidana. A regrettable incident indeed. Her colleagues insist that we honor her wishes and trust in the talisman, that it will be instrumental in saving Nidana and the others.
I'm glad she's alive, so
I am
agree.
eager to hear your opinion on the matter, so let us not stand on ceremony. Come, sit.
I don't think those chairs fit me.
I think not.
Wait a minute.
This charade has gone on long enough. Show yourself.
Forgive me, but were you expecting musicians, perhaps? There are no performers waiting in the wings at present, but arrangements could be made if you'd prefer.
Nay, he hath the right of it. The time for artifice is past. Raise the curtain.
As you wish.
See, so something, I think I mentioned this in the first episode where I saw Varshan.
You travel as assistants to the students of Valdesian, but you are known to me. Even here have we heard of the scions of the Seventh Dawn.
Hi.
I am Vritra, and for years uncounted hath this isle.
See, I was wondering how he got the dragon scales. This makes sense.
Vritra, of the first brood, sibling to Hraesvelga and Nidhogg.
I, mine elder brothers, of Midgard Sorma's spawn, I was last to hatch.
Well, isn't this a surprise? We were told Radz-at-Han had an alliance with the dragon. Not that a great worm sat in the Satrap's own
Is he
hall.
the Satrap, though? That would make the most sense.
A necessary subterfuge, as the true tale of our nation history illustrates most effectively.
I guess it'd be easier if the Satrap was a person,
In
but...
the beginning, the rock upon which our city is built was home to Vitra, and Vitra alone. In time, the ancestors of the Matanga came to the island and established a foothold. But never did they dare disturb the worm's lair. Next to arrive were the Aura. Adopting the example of their Akasodra allies, they too treated Vitra with reverence and respect. And for many years, an understanding between our forefathers and the Great Worm endured. Until marauding heroes from the mainland came, threatening to shatter our peace and tranquility.
I remember them talking about this a
When
few
it
episodes
seemed
ago.
all would be drowned in blood, Vitra himself came forth and quelled the rising conflict. A peaceful accord was reached, and oaths sworn in Vitra's name. Thus began the dragon's governance of the fledgling state, which was to grow into Radz-at-Han.
But if Vritra is still here, then your position as Satrap is just...
In name only?
A charade. Yes. And one which my family has performed faithfully for generations.
Many envy the great worms their power. Were it known that I ruled here, then the fires of war would burn without end.
So wait, do you just sit here chilling? Like all day, every
I will
day?
not be the flame which consumeth my people. Those few who joined me in laying our country's foundations were, perforce, sworn to secrecy.
Your eye. It was taken.
Oh.
'Tis here, buried within the semblance of flesh.
I knew he looked
The
a
body
little
before thee
weird.
is but a simulacrum, constructed by the finest artisans of Radz-at-Han. With mine eye nestled within, it doth serve as an inconspicuous vessel for my will.
So wait, are you still your own person though?
That would explain why I felt the presence of a dragon upon our first meeting.
I am woven with words fashioned to deceive such arcane senses. Though 'twas short-lived, it seemeth thy fusion with my brother hath left thee much altered, Estinian warm blood. From the very first, we sensed the nature of one another, yet did neither one of us bare his fangs. That is all I need know of thee for now.
With my secret thus revealed, I have for you a proposal. Not as a worm.
What if somebody's walking by and they just hear the dragon talk? Does anyone have thought about that? Like at all?
With all haste must we take in hand the finished talismans and breach this foul spire. Thence, should it lay within our power, dispel its wicked influence. Yet even with the assurance of the warding scales, the narrow confines of the tower doth limit the size of our force.
This is true.
And thus denied strength in numbers, thou must choose thy soldiers with care.
Just so. Yet though our radiant host is formidable, I see a surer path before me. Thou and thy comrades have contended with a multitude of primal beings. Most recently, thou didst cast down false gods in Pagalthan and Cartanau, I am told.
Alright, so just the people that we fought in 5.5.
Strength, I would call. The Scions have proven themselves the most capable, and I ask that you serve as the tip of our spear.
Sure.
Talismans would, of course, be provided for each of thy companions. And should you agree to this undertaking, more will be provided to make use of as you see fit.
Okay. So each of the Scions should be getting one, then.
There's no denying it's a dangerous proposition, but the rewards may far outweigh the risk. Just think of what we might accomplish if we could equip all our allies with warding scales.
Yeah.
I worry, however, that even the four of us may be too few for what you have in mind. Might we regroup with our friends first to discuss the matter?
'Tis no trifling task that I have laid before you. Go, steel your hearts and hone your plans. Such time as you require shall be spent in crafting your protective charms.
It seems a quick trip back to Sharlayan is in order.
Alright, it's time to regroup.
Wilt thou not lend thine aid?
Whether your request be made as a great worm or the ruler of Radz-at-Han, I see no reason to refuse, nor will I.
I am in thy debt.
See, I feel like this scene right here would have been a lot more impactful for me personally if I had more knowledge and I guess experience with Heaven's Ward. Unfortunately, that's just not the case for me, as I was kind of rushed through it as I was catching up for in time for Stormblood release. The meeting took a rather unexpected turn, but now we have a clear objective ahead of us. Let us rejoin our comrades in Sharlayan and muster a suitable crew for our foray into the Tower of Radz-at-Han. Oh, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to attune to the Aetheryte here before departing. Unless, of course, you enjoy violent nausea. Alright. It's about time that we actually go on ahead and head back to Sharlayan. It's been a couple of parts since we've last been there, so... Don't worry, I will go on ahead and meet you guys back over there once I figure out where I'm supposed to be heading. Okay, there we go. Alright, we're back here in the main hall. Just as I was getting used to the balmy Thavnir air, we're back in the chilly Sharlayan. Take care not to catch your death, eh? We need you for battles to come. Now then, everyone appears to be here, so let's take stock of all developments and discoveries. Since there have been progress in both investigations, shall we share the findings from our respective locales? Yeah, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah
Your time in Thavnir has certainly been eventful. In my opinion, carrying out Vitra's request and assaulting the Tower of Radz-at-Han should be our highest priority.
I agree. While I still have questions concerning the Forum and their grand undertaking, we have all but exhausted our avenues of investigation. Simply pressing them any harder on the subject will almost certainly result in our expulsion. Therefore, I suggest we explore the ethereal sea connection by way of a letter to Master Matoya, then make our way to Thavnir.
I wonder, even with the protection these talismans afford us, what can we hope to achieve once inside the tower? According to Orenvold and Fodola's report, they were unable to free the Emolja. Worse, their attempts triggered the tower's defenses, which led to a summoning of Luna Afrit.
What does it tell us that the Spires even have such defenses? Simply pulling a prisoner from the wall is fatal, thus the direct approach is doomed to failure from the outset. Any further measures to dissuade such actions seem unnecessary. Unless, of course, there is a way to free the prisoners without killing them. Then it stands to reason that any intruders will be met with overwhelming force.
Why make a mechanism to free them?
The towers appeared throughout the world in but the twinkling of an eye. 'Twas by magical means these structures were raised, I surmise.
Okay.
A spire thus conjured must needs be maintained. And I suspect an arcane catalyst, some manner of core, doth lie hidden within. Destroy the core, and the tower ceaseth to be, thus liberating the captives without harm.
But is everyone just gonna fall from, like, the tower? I hope that we don't, like, destroy the tower in entirety, because people stored in upper levels will just kind of fall and plop, you know?
Assuming Ishtola's reasoning is correct, the chances of the defenses remaining dormant are small to none. Any primals will have to be dealt with, and defeating one will likely only lead to the summoning of another. Our every victory will only compound the prisoner's suffering.
May we not then divide our forces? Those proficient in healing will focus on sustaining the captives. That duty can be covered by Urianger, Kryl, Jostola, and myself. The remaining scions will proceed with the search for the core. Admittedly, this strategy puts both parties at greater risk, but it should bolster our chances of saving the Arcosodra by a considerable margin.
Makes sense. Are you sure Alphino's in the right group? I'm just bullying Alphino this entire playthrough.
If you're to fight primals, then you'd best have at least one healer with you.
And I am more than happy to fulfill that role. I found wielding a sage's armament to be rather intuitive, and look forward to testing them against a more challenging foe.
It seems we have a plan. All that remains is to carry it out. I will inform Radz-at-Han of our movements, so let us make our preparations and regroup near the tower.
The military post in what's left of the Hamsa hatchery should serve as a convenient staging point.
That sounds perfect. And remember, the experimental aetherite at the confluence is there for those who need it, so there's no excuse for being late.
All right. Looks like we got our game plan. Okay. So I think I know exactly how I'm gonna play this out, because we've been actually going through with this episode actually a little bit longer than what we've been doing previously. So our best plan of action, in my opinion, is that we should go meet everybody there, because obviously the Tower of Zot's going to be our first dungeon. So that leaves the option of, am I going to go on ahead and play with random players on this playthrough, or am I going to use the trust system? And I think what I've decided to do is that for all intents and purposes, I'm going to be using the trust system. I think that while playing with other players would make the dungeon experience definitely faster, especially since I'm playing as a tank, so the roulette's going to be like an instant Q pop. The one thing that I value a lot is more so that the immersion, the experience doesn't necessarily get ruined by, you know, other players and stuff. And so I think that that's probably my best plan of action for this. So that means that the dungeons are probably going to be taking up an episode in on its own, and for me that's fine. But that's at least kind of my mentality. The trials, of course, are going to be done with other players, and that's honestly no big deal. I did want to at least bring this up now, so that way we are kind of all on the same page here. But because just due to the nature of how long dungeons tend to be, and how it's going to have to be its own separate episode, this episode's likely going to be a shorter one, probably once we establish the kind of entryway point into the dungeon. So let's go on ahead and talk to Nabdin. Ah, our friends of Eorza. We've been expecting you. You and yours will lead the mission to the tower, I'm told. The warding scales will be delivered soon. Till then, please stand by the boat until you're ready. When your fellows arrive, I'll direct them to join you. We pray for your safety and success. Dang, everybody already here, ready? Alternatively, this might just be an instance. Either way, though, let's say, we're going to be kind of wrapping up here in a bit. I think we're just going to wait to regroup with everybody first. I'm surprised that I'm the first one here, though. You'd think that, you know, everyone else would have been already here and ready. I guess the other people have to deal with the aether sickness. But everybody, you know, he's learned has healing spells and whatnot, so they probably recovered quickly. If this is the future of aetherites travel, I think I'll stick to boats. Hi. No warning, however, I can't even speak. On account of which we were a little late, but fighting fit, mostly. My friends, permit me to thank you for accepting this mission. You must be... We should still call you Varshan, I suppose. Indeed. It would not do to confuse our soldiers. Very well, then. For our part, we are humbled to see that you should see fit to entrust us with your warding skills. Please convey as much to His Excellency. One for each of you. Please accept them with my blessings. Our thanks. With these, we can go anywhere with those with the blessings of light can go. Not only for this operation either, but all the ones to come. You can finally break your monopoly on primals. In that case, they're all yours for now on. But I'm afraid we can't let you retire just yet. You're the Scion's biggest star after all. If everyone's amenable to it, let us review the strategy for good measure. As previously agreed, we will divide into 2 groups. Vendor and his band will break through the tower's defenses and locate its core. Meanwhile, the rest of us will tend to the prisoners, who will doubtless want for healing due to the rest of repeated summonings. The primals which the tower bringeth forth shall be the deities of Thavnarian myth. As we have no prior experience with such foes, pray exercise the utmost caution when confronting them. We commence the operation at your word, my friend. For the people of Thavnar, nay, the entire world, we must prevail. Alright, the Tower of Radz-at-Han is now accessible. And we will be tackling this dungeon in the next episode, everybody. So, thank you guys all so very much for watching. And, as always, he may be here, standing here, in the next one.